Hello.
Woo! I'm doing my best Ron Burgundy right here. I love that gif. Woo, 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 woo. For all you vets just joining us, welcome. Cassie, thanks for being here. Apologize in advance for my voice, sinus infection, sucking on a cough drop, but I didn't want to cancel y'all. So I wanted to be here for this live Q&A with you. I know it's been a minute, and it's a blessing to be able to do this with you. So thank you, Cassie. Thank you, fellow vets. Thank you, all of our teammates behind the scenes helping out. Share something good. Somebody tell me something good going on. Cassie, let's just start with you.
Well, I'm hosting this live with you, so that's a good start. I'm excited. I've never done that before with you, always with my other teammates, so that's really exciting. Other good stuff, I've had a lot of vets this month go to 100%, probably more than average, and so I'm really excited about their progress.
That is awesome. That is totally awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Fellow vets, again, welcome. Your time is incredibly valuable, and the fact that you're on right now to spend time with us live, even if you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. Tell us who you are. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your branch of service, when you served. One of the things we try really hard to do here at VA Claims Insider is give you your identity back. Okay? We give you your identity back because I know what it feels like. We take off the uniform, they kick our butt out of the military service, and we sort of forget who we are. We don't know what we're good at anymore. We lose our purpose. We don't feel like we have a mission in life anymore. And it causes a lot of pain and stress and frustration. I've been there, y'all. Been there, done it all. And part of the reason why I founded VA Claims Insider was to give veterans hope, to help you celebrate life change. Okay, that's what we want. It's bigger than just your claim. Of course, we can help you increase your VA rating. Of course, we can help you get more tax-free compensation and benefits every month for the rest of your life. Of course we can. But we do so much more than that. And Cassie, you'll be the first to say this, and I'll let you speak to it. Our veterans develop such strong, trusting, deep personal relationships with our coaches. Many of y'all stay in touch for life after this experience because it's like, finally somebody gets me. Finally, I found my peeps. And that's what we offer here. Okay. It's life change. It's about giving you hope.
Yeah, that's really true. I would say that some of the vets that I first start chatting with, once we get, 10, 15 minutes into the call, you do hear that sense of relief. Okay, finally someone that is listening to me. And then when we get to the end of the process and they've gotten where they deserve to be, they've also kind of gotten where they want to be emotionally or with their family. So it's not, like he said, just the money aspect. We're changing lives in other ways, and your family will notice that benefit as well. So it's just good from start to finish.
I love it. I love it. It gives me chills. And we celebrate every victory. I love seeing and hearing your testimonials and seeing the victories. We celebrate them all. They never get old, ever. I just love every single one of them. And guess what? We are there with you every step of the way if you get kicked in the teeth. Because sometimes the VA is going to deny your claim. Okay? I've had claims denied. Sometimes they deny them wrongfully. And so it's about coming at it with a strategy to say, look, it hurts. It feels like a gut punch when you get denied because it feels like the VA is calling you a liar. I mean, at the end of the day, the VA is telling you they think you're a liar. So they denied your claim. That hurts. That sucks. Okay. But what we're going to help you do is go back and look through your rating decision letter and find out what were the intricacies of why it was denied, and then help you develop a strategy to fight it in a higher level review. That's the first step of the appeals process. It's called a VA HLR, higher level review. If that doesn't work, or if we think you need new and relevant evidence, specifically medical evidence, we may recommend you do what's called a supplemental claim. So you can submit new evidence to the VA and have them potentially make a different decision. Guess what? If they deny that, you can potentially submit a records-only board appeal. If that doesn't work, you can potentially request a video hearing. If that doesn't work, you can try a different strategy. The bottom line is there are endless options, and the VA claim process is never over unless you quit. And part of our job as coaches is to not ever let you quit. It's to be with you side by side on this journey, okay, to make sure you get every single penny and benefit that you've earned for wearing the uniform of our country, okay? So indebted to veterans and their families for that. So thank you. Okay, we've talked a lot already. Cassie, you want to take it away? We'll get to the Q&A.
Yeah, of course. So I'll go ahead and read our disclaimer here. Just so you guys know, we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Departments of Veterans Affairs, the VA, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching and consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our referral network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, or IMOs, for a wide range of disability conditions.
Thank you. I'm just going to give a few shout outs real quick. Nico, Beverly, Don, Johnny, Ruthie, Aldo, Demetrius, Patrick, Scott, Melly, Nico, Ruth, Kyle, EA, Sean, William, Scott, Erica. Oh my goodness, I could go through this list for like freaking ever. But I wanted to say welcome to y'all. Thanks for putting your info in here. Look at David. This is cool. Proud member of VACI. My awesome coach is Eddie. Eddie's the man, dude. Navy vet. Got some questions popping up already. Hey, Arthur, Brad, Kevin, Ray. What's up, Johnny Trimble? JT, good to see you, big dog. Patrick, hey, Ted, Brad, Arthur, Terrence, Dennis, John, Joe, Derek, Brian. I could just take a list of names and just shout them out. So that's super cool, though. Thanks for being here, guys and gals. Why don't we start with questions? I want to jump right into it. Okay, y'all know I know how to talk. I could sit here and talk for 2 days, but we're here to answer your questions. So let's start with that.
All right, so we've got a pool of them here. Let's start with Nico G. He says, how long do duty assist errors take once found? It's been a month and a half. A lot of times you're not going to like time frame answers, right? It depends. I would say now that you have your duty to assist error letter, the VA is going to have to process that. If there's something they need to look into or amend before the final decision letter, that's what they have to do. So I can't give you 2 months or 3 days, but you can call the VA hotline and just check. Are you missing anything from me? And we can make sure that that number gets put on the screen or in the chat for you.
1-800-827-1000. Committed to memory because I call it all the time too, just to see how it's working now. But look, call the hotline. There it is on the screen. If you've got questions about your claim, you're curious about why you did or didn't get a C&P exam, you're wondering why it's taking so long. Is anybody reviewing my evidence? How come blah, 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 blah. Okay. Payment issues. Call the hotline, 1-800-827-1000. Speak to a rep. Ask him or her what's going on. And here's a secret tip. Okay. The secret tip is if you have something specific that you want relayed to the rater assigned to your claim, the VSR, the Veteran Service Representative who's shuffling all the paperwork for the rater, if you have something specific you want to get to them, tell the representative on the phone, I am asking you to submit a message in my file to the VBA regional office in my state, and here's what I want it to say. Okay. That message, I can't guarantee it will, but 9 times out of 10, that message is going to get its way directly to the rater. Okay. Secret tip for you.
We love knowledge nuggets around here, so stick by and you'll get some more. Let's see what other questions we have. John Sweeney says, is it better to send one claim at a time? And that's a great strategy question, right? A lot of times we tailor claim strategy to every veteran specific situation. It can be good to send fully developed claims, one strong one with all the evidence and get it sent through quickly. Sometimes part of our strategy is to bundle some claims. So there's a couple different pathways there.
Yeah, it's a little bit nuanced. I would agree, Cassie. John, if you already have a VA disability rating, okay, you have some percentage, but maybe it's not the one you think you should have, I would recommend you take a very targeted, strategic approach and only submit one claim with 1 to 3 disabilities max, maybe 1 to 2 disabilities max in that one claim. Okay. The only time I would recommend submitting one claim with a whole laundry list of disabilities is if you're in the pre-discharge status. So you're getting ready to leave the military and you're trying to put everything in your file that you might be eligible for. Or if you've never filed a claim before, okay, if you're a first-time filer, you have no VA disability, no rating at all, not even 0%. I would recommend you put one claim with a whole laundry list of disabilities that you're suffering from that are in your medical records. But if you are not in that camp, you're already a veteran, you already have a rating, and you're going for an increase, I would recommend you be very strategic. Why do we recommend that? Okay. If you try to submit a whole bunch of disabilities, it is going to take forever to the VA for the VA rater to adjudicate that claim. Multiple CNP exams across multiple disciplines. The VA is already backlogged. You're going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs, and that sucks. Okay. Versus if you do one or two disabilities in the one claim, chances are the rater is going to be like, oh, thank God, there's only 1 or 2 disabilities here. They're going to schedule you for your exams, and their job is to rate that claim and get it off their desk as fast as possible. Okay. So like they're smiling when they see you come through with one claim with 2 disabilities, and they're like, holy crap, I could have this thing done in, I don't know, 60 days, 45 days, 30 days. So that's the more kind of nuanced answer of what we recommend around here.
Great question. Let's see. Patrick Morrissey says, are there circumstances when you shouldn't have to go to a CMP exam? I will say a CMP exam or complementation and pension exams will usually always be scheduled or done once you file a claim. Now, whether you end up having to go in person for it, or if it ends up being an ACE, an acceptable clinical evidence review, which is just a records review, there will be one done. So shouldn't have to go. I always recommend to go. If it's scheduled, go. If you don't have to be in person, you don't have to worry about it. They're just going to look over everything you've submitted.
100%. That's it. This is a great question. And I think there's a few different parts to it. Cassie, you answered it perfectly. I really want you all to home in on what I'm about to say. Okay. I have seen Reddit threads, Facebook groups, other companies who claim they help veterans with disability claims. I have seen them tell you not to go to your scheduled CNP exam. I'm telling you right now, that is insanity. Okay. If you get scheduled for a VA CNP exam, you go. Okay. And here's why. Okay. If you get scheduled for a CNP exam and you don't go, okay, that's called a no-show. What the VA rater is then going to be forced to do is they're going to have to make a rating decision based upon the evidence and the evidence alone. And some of that may be old evidence. There might not be a current diagnosis. There might not be a clear nexus. There might not be documented symptoms. Guess what? In my opinion, it's easier for them to either deny that claim outright or leave your rating unchanged, potentially even lower your rating. I've seen that happen. So our advice, okay, and there's no hard and fast here. I'm just telling you what our advice is. If you get scheduled for a CNP exam, you go, okay, and we'll help you prepare for that.
I always say to look at it as an opportunity. It definitely feels like, ugh, I don't want to do this, but it's an opportunity for explain your symptoms, tell your story, and get rated properly. So, right on track.
100%. Thanks, guys.
All right. We got another question here from Adrian Ward. Was stationed in Germany at the house, slipped on a rug, and my hand went through the glass. Some cutting of tendons happened, and ultimately, because he was at home, he feels that the VA denied it, said it wasn't service connected. It's not true that you cannot be service connected for things that didn't happen necessarily on the base. If you were at home, if you got in a car accident off base, but you were active duty, you can file a claim for it. Now, you just want to make sure you have the right evidence to support it. A current diagnosis of, the severity of the condition now, if it's still affecting you, and then a medical opinion linking it back to that initial incident. So it can be done. We just might need to look at the details to direct you a little better.
Perfectly said.
Let's see. We got a couple other pools of questions here. I'll take the opportunity to say here what's on the screen. Ultimately, we do these videos because we want you to get some information about what we're doing here. If you want to join in, talk to me as a coach or some of our other great coaches, go ahead and use our elite membership sign up. It's free to sign up. It's free to talk to a coach and chat about your strategy and figure out where you can go with this. So go ahead and sign up, and let's talk to you here pretty soon.
Heck yeah, y'all. Awesome. I think the best part about our program, gang, is we've structured it so that if we don't win, you don't pay. Simple as that. Okay. We are very open and upfront that we are a for-profit company. We do have a fee at the end, if and only if you get an increase. I won't go into the full detailed list, but we have a link on our website about our price list in case you want to review it. The other thing I want to say, and I think this is really important, if you look at our membership agreement, we specifically state in there, do not sign up with us unless you have already exhausted your free resources. Okay. Gang, look, we ain't the only game in town. There's a ton of free help out there to serve and support you. I want you to try those avenues first because they're free. In many cases, we recommend you try those avenues. Okay. But if you're at the end of your rope regarding the VA disability claim process, if you're freaking sick and tired of being stuck, frustrated, underrated, you've been punched in the gut too many times, you've exhausted your free resources, you've lost your identity, your purpose, you're feeling hurt, you feel like you don't matter anymore, okay? This is a place for you. I'm telling you right now, this has the potential to change you and your family's life forever. And that's why we do this. And those are the veterans we want to serve, okay? The veterans who want to be in a mutually beneficial relationship with us to help you walk this journey to change your life.
Most thing that I hear from my vets is that it's just nice to have somebody in your corner or someone that can answer the questions as you're moving forward. You're never going to go into it thinking, what's next or what do I do next? Because you're going to know. That's what's nice about it.
100%.
If you're kind of teetering like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to sign up, we do discovery calls where you can just chat with someone about our program, our process, and how it might help you, and then take the step to sign up after that. So check out our discovery call sign up link, either on the screen or in the chat.
Yep.
So let's get back to some of these questions. Let me see. John Wimsat. If I am currently rated at 30 for PTSD, 30 for asthma, but get PTSD rated higher to 70, does that equal 100? Of course, in regular math, it should, but in VA math, it may fall a little bit short. Without getting too complicated with the VA math, ultimately, every time you get a new rating, they're going to first take it out of the part of you that is still not disabled. So say you were at that 30 and you're adding 70, they're going to first take it out of 60 and put that on top of 30. And that just takes a little bit away each time. So it's convoluted, but it is just how they run the process. Part of our strategy is figuring out, based on what you're filing or what you need to file, is that going to move your overall, or where is that going to land once you get that claim successfully accepted?
VA fuzzy math, right? It's about as clear as mud. The best thing you can do is just punch in your disability ratings by condition into a VA disability calculator, a combined rating calculator. We have one on our website. There's a couple other decent ones online if you just Google them. It would not, though, right? As Cass said, disabilities they're not additive, they're not cumulative. There's a fuzzy math calculation, so you'd probably be somewhere around 80 to 90-ish. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but you would not be at 100 if that was the situation. Just something to keep in mind.
You may have room to grow, so definitely keep looking at your options. Let's see what other questions we can get answered for you today. Another question about time frame. Does a record-only board appeal take 5 years? Personally, I don't have the specific answer, right? It does take time. It can take years. Those BVA or Board of Veterans Appeals are some of the more lengthier processing claims out there versus a supplemental claim where you just give new evidence or a higher level review like Brian mentioned earlier. Those ones don't take as long, usually not years. Everybody's situation is a little bit different.
Yeah, I've seen a records only board appeal take like 120 days, and I've seen another one take 5 years. So it's difficult to say, Patrick. It really depends on the complexity of the appeal, how many conditions are under appeal, if you have to get scheduled for new C&P exams, et cetera, et cetera. So it's more of a nuanced answer than just, can it take 5 years? Well, yeah, it can. I don't think it would. But if you've already tried, you got denied, you then went higher level review, that got denied, you tried supplemental claim, that got denied, it may be an option for you. Okay, I don't know the specifics of your case, but that's the short answer.
Good stuff. Patrick's coming in with a lot of good questions today. So he says, can you tell me, how do you ask a private doctor that you've been seeing to fill out something like a DBQ, which is the VA's disability benefits questionnaire form, and provide a Nexus? Easy is just ask them, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. Will you fill out this form for me? Some civilian providers may not really know what you're talking about or have a whole lot of interest to do it. But it's worth an ask, right? Because they know your situation best. If not, if they do seem a little confused by it, or you're not sure if you're going to get the right information, a part of our process is, pairing you up with the referral team. The team of doctors we refer to, providers we refer to, the team called Telemedica, and they more so specialize in veterans claims evidence. They either chat with you or review your evidence in order to provide a DBQ or a Nexus based on your situation.
Awesome. Yeah. And so let me be clear about this too. You can go to Telemedica without coming through VACI, right? They service their own clients. It's its own company. So you can choose to do that. It just costs more, right? You get members only rates if you come through as a VACI member, but you can go through that if you just need a DBQ, a Nexus letter, or a mental health independent medical opinion. One thing to note, though, is 100%. We're going to encourage you to go get medical evidence from your treating provider if he or she is willing to do that. In my experience over the last 7 years, I've seen a reluctance by doctors who don't understand to do this. And I think it's multifaceted. One of them is treating physicians are insanely busy acting as treating physicians. Okay. So anytime they get asked to do paperwork, it's like I don't have time for that. I've got another patient in 30 seconds and 17 after that. So I've seen a real reluctance among the private medical community to really help and support veterans when it comes to filling out a DBQ form, right? Which is really just like a checkbox. I've seen extreme resistance in them offering a Nexus letter because they have no idea what you're talking about, right? And now you're starting to ask them to dive deep in your medical history, talk about my diagnosis history, talk about my medical history, my service history. Look, this isn't what they do. And so even if they're willing to write one, I would probably say they're going to screw it up and it's not going to help you. It might hurt you. So if you're pursuing private medical evidence for a disability claim, you think you need a DBQ or a Nexus letter, my advice to you would be to look into private providers who specialize in disability compensation benefit claims for veterans. To me, that's the path that I would go.
Good question. What else we have? So Jerry says, has colon cancer been added from exposure to Agent Orange? I don't know off the top of my head, but I have a pretty quick way to check and just verify.
Man, Jerry, I know that's been on the docket for I don't know how many years, and off the cuff, I don't think it has been, but I don't want to say for certain because I haven't seen the latest updated list. But we can get back to you on that. If our team, the back end team, can take a note on that and get back to Jerry, that'd be fantastic.
Quick search on our blog shows that Brian's kind of on the right track. It's not yet been added. And let us take a note to say that our VACI blog is a big part of those free resources that Brian was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
VAClaimsinsider.com, there's a search bar, search any condition. You can search Agent Orange. That's what I do to pull up all of our articles. And then if you're good at keyword searching, colon cancer from there. But check out that webpage. It's really awesome. You're going to get a lot of free information from it.
100%. Yeah, look, obviously we'd love for you to join us because we want to help you change your life. Even if you don't join us, our whole goal is to make sure that we're bringing you the best of the best information all the time. And our content strategy, I'm just going to share it. Here's some inside baseball for you on our content strategy. I tell our team, we want our free content to be better than anybody else's paid content. Because if we can establish that level of expertise with you, that holy crap, this content is so good, I wonder how good their paid content is, right? And that's our membership programs. It's pretty good. It's pretty dang good. Cassie's shaking her head. Yeah, it's pretty dang good. But even if you don't sign up, just go to vaclaimsinsider.com/blog. We're pumping out unbelievable content 2 to 3 times a week. And so, just follow along. You can pick up so many free tips to help move you along just by reading our posts.
One of my vets I actually did a strategy call with yesterday told me that he has increased his rating up to a point just utilizing our free materials, and of course kind of got to a roadblock. And so here I am to help him out, right? And to chat about the strategy moving forward. So just an attestament to that.
That's awesome. It's really awesome.
There's a specific link that they popped in on the screen if you want to check out the Agent Orange exposures. So we've had other questions in here. Let me find this one. Here's one. So Richard Barrett says, can I connect diabetes and heart disease to tinnitus? There are a pretty good handful of things you can have secondary to tinnitus. Unfortunately, at this time, diabetes and heart disease aren't necessarily on that. So for something to be claimed as secondary to another service-connected condition, you want to be able to show medically that it's being aggravated or caused by that service-connected condition. So big ones for tinnitus are things like Meniere's or dizziness, vertigo, headaches, sometimes even anxiety and depression because it's just so irritating or affects your sleep. So those are some of those ones you can do secondary to tinnitus. The diabetes and heart disease, we might have to dive into your situation a little bit more to know if there's a pathway there, whether that is primary or secondary.
Great advice. I mean, Richard, just off the cuff, right? I don't know your case, but the buzzword is in a secondary claim is the secondary condition, is it proximately due to or aggravated by a service-connected condition? And typically principles of aggravation would tie to things like headaches. I mean, headaches secondary to tinnitus is a slam dunk with a Nexus letter. We see mental health conditions secondary to tinnitus. Something like diabetes and heart disease, those are cardiovascular conditions. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, but I know a lot about the system. But a cardiovascular condition, if you were trying to make that link to the ringing in your ears, I would say that would be very weak and ripe for a denial. I would recommend another possible path there, as Cass mentioned.
And I'll take this opportunity now to kind of use Brian Zode's words, when it comes to things that you're dealing with, you got to get your butt to the doctor and get them treated and diagnosed, or an updated assessment. Maybe you were diagnosed years ago, but just been dealing with it since then. Get into the doc and complain about these things, even if you're not used to it, because that's usually the first step in getting the evidence you need.
One thing vets are terrible at, and I'll throw myself under the bus here, right, is especially on active duty. We're not going to go whine and complain and check into sick call and fall out of formation and miss PT and be the weak guy or gal who can't deploy with the unit or who gets ostracized for being the pansy. Come on, let's call a spade a spade. We don't do that when we're on active duty. Well, the problem with that is then you become a veteran, and all of a sudden these conditions that you never talked about are not only cropping up, they're getting worse. Okay. And then all of a sudden you're like, I got to go to the doctor. I've got issues. I need help. And you're starting to wonder, can I get free health care from the VA for my conditions? And now you're worried because they're not service connected. So I don't know. Right. And now you're stuck in this ultimate catch-22. You had conditions while you were on active duty. They're due to your service. They should be service connected, but you're lacking evidence. Okay. You file a claim with evidence. The VA denies the claim. It's like a gut punch. You're calling me a liar. You spiral downhill. That's probably the first moment when you go to the Google machine to find out what I did wrong. Why was my VA claim denied? Like, what was I missing? What do I need to have? And all of a sudden, you might end up down 31 links of clickbait trying to figure out what to do next. I know. I've been down that path for 7 years. Okay? It's totally normal. It's totally normal. What matters now is what you're going to do about it now. Okay? Yes, go to the VA and start seeking treatment. If you think you got a mental health condition, call VA Mental Health in your local area and make an appointment. Start getting help. We want you to get better. We want you to get seen for these things, gang. Not to mention, you start documenting your conditions, whether they're diagnosed or not, whether you get a diagnosis or not, potential connections to your service, how bad your symptoms are. Okay? Keep going to the doctor and seeking treatment. I get asked that all the time. I'm already 100% P&T. Should I quit going to my appointments? Come on, man. No. Go to your appointments. We want you to get better, not worse. If they give you medications, take them. If they don't work, stop taking them. Right? But just keep doing everything you can to get better. The goal is not to get worse. The goal is to get better. Okay? All right, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, I think it's a good one to be on. And that's usually, something that we say. We can coach you on strategy and we can coach you through your exam process, but we just can't coach that medical evidence. I think that's something I heard another coach say, and it's true, right? You just have to see the doctor. But I'm not a veteran, right? I still wasn't raised necessarily to complain, but I give you guys permission to complain. I mean, you're dealing with real life stuff here and you deserve to talk about it, even if you've been kind of taught otherwise.
Cass is being bashful. She grew up in a military family and she knows the lingo. What's up, AP?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I wanted to apologize for being late. As you timed to segue into what you were talking about with the VA, I just came back from a VA TBI appointment that went an hour over. So, hey, the onus is on me. I could have left, and I said, hey, let's reschedule this, but I was irresponsible, and I apologize to the vets, and I apologize to my co-hosts here. Hope you could forgive me, and let's press on as I'm answering some questions.
Of course we forgive you, bro. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good job for going to the doctor.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Great example. Get your butt to the doctor.
It took 2 months to get that appointment scheduled.
Goodness gracious. Well,
Hope
let's
y'all are
jump
doing
into
well.
some other questions. I was looking at one here. Kevin Gidry, he says the 6% payment at the end, what you're awarded, you have to pay it all at once, or can you do it in monthly payments? So just to be clear, it's not necessarily 6%, right? Our fees are kind of based off of your increase, 6 times the increase that you receive. So if you were to go from being paid $1,000 a month to being paid $2,000 a month, it's that difference between 2,000 and 1,000. And you do have options on payment. Again, it's only if and when you are awarded that rating increase, and you can do a 12 monthly payment plan with no interest, or you can do a lump sum with a 10% discount. So you definitely have options, and it's only going to come out of funds you don't yet have. So that's the great part about it. There's the price list there that Brian referenced earlier if you want to check it out.
It's worth it, folks. How many of our coaches were once clients or still are clients, right? I mean, it's they bought into it and they're here and it's working. So I hope you guys do the same.
Matt, I'm telling you, that's like one of the things I'm most proud of. Yeah, of course I'm proud of. I mean, we've changed millions of lives, literally millions of lives with our movement. But I absolutely love the fact that a lot of our veteran clients who are in our elite membership program, they get their new rating, they have their life changed, and the next conversation is like, hey, are you guys hiring? I would love to come on and be a coach. I would love to give back to the veteran community and servants. Like, I want to be a part of this. Like, I love that. I love that. And yeah, like, I don't have the number in front of me, but a lot of our veteran coaches are former clients that had their life changed, that come over and say, I want to do this full time. Like, I want to serve veterans.
Yeah, it's got to be double digits at this point. I know my boss, Caleb, great guy. He's tried and true, swears by this program, and it shows in his deeds every day. So, if you're on the fence, folks, he's at 100% P&T right now, and I think he came at 60 or something along those lines. Yeah. So not to throw his information out there, but I think he says it in Coffee with the Coaches all the time.
He's probably said it on his own live as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, my father used the company as well. I think amidst working through his rating increase, he retired from his federal job and then did exactly what Brian said. Hey, can I help? How can I help? And he's been doing it ever since. So he reached his goal as well.
Hang on. I need to brag just for a second. So Cassie Allen's father, Stacy Allen, he's one of our leaders. He's been with us for a long time. This guy, man, I was speaking at an event in San Antonio. It was a veteran event, and we were talking a little bit about, you know, how we serve and support veterans. And, you know, there's a bunch of people there, and I noticed this guy was like, he clearly wanted to talk to me, but he didn't want to cause a scene, and he didn't want to interrupt a whole bunch of other people. And he was like one of the last people that I got to talk to one-on-one. And he shook my hand. He gave me a big hug. He's like, hey, my name is Stacy Allen. I drove here from Houston just to say thank you. And we were in San Antonio. And it was like on a work night. And I was literally like I just got chills, like talking about the story again. The guy drove from Houston to San Antonio. I don't even know what that is. Is that 2 to 3 hours? Just to shake my hand, give me a hug, and say thank you. And I was like, bro, you're the kind of dude that we want around here. Like, I want that guy. And we started talking, and the rest is history. And now it's a family affair. We've got Stacy, we've got Cass. I think your mom's with us now too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Family affair. Like I said, gang, we're like a big family around here. All right, next question.
I think I see one. Are coaches former VSOs, and how are they trained to be coaches? Well, no, we're not VSOs. We actually get more training than VSOs, and we are trained through a several-week boot camp that onboarding. And a lot of these veterans have experience within the VA process prior to them coming here, whether going through it themselves or, you know, helping out their friends, or I'm sure there are probably some that were VSOs at one point. I know there's a couple of prior Raiders that work for us here at VA Claims Insider. So the training is intensive. It's, you know, you got to study, you got to be on those books and, you know, reading up on the material. 38, you know, the material is always changing. the ratings are changing, the conditions are changing, stuff like that. So you've got to constantly be studying, and the training just never ends. To answer that question, long answer to a short question.
Yeah. I would agree with AP. Wayne, some are former VSOs, but maybe they're not. They can't act in that capacity anymore. And look, let me just clarify something real quick so everybody knows. Okay, we are not against VSOs. Okay, they're not our enemy. We need VSOs. Okay, you can go read my Senate statement that I just submitted to the Senate VA committee. You can find it online. I'm advocating for quadrupling the number of VSOs over the next 4 years. There's 8,000. I'm saying we need 32,000 minimum. Okay, there's not enough VSOs. Okay, VA Claims Insider is not competing with VSOs or anyone in the accredited system. We're an education company. We complement the work of VSOs and accredited representatives. Some folks in our program choose to continue working with their accredited VSO while they're also working with us. What's the difference? Accredited representatives will make you sign a power of attorney form with them. Power of attorney allows them to prepare and file the claim on your behalf. Okay, they're going to interact with the VA on your behalf. They're going to pull information. They're going to respond to things. They have access to something called the Veteran Benefits Management System, VBMS, so they can pull real-time results of C&P exams, rating decisions. Okay, it's not an us versus them. We need everybody. Now, I know there are those circling the wagons, okay, coming after folks who are non-accredited. I get it, okay? I understand the issue. I understand the concern. I would encourage you to go read the statement that I submitted to Senator Tester and Senator Moran on what I think we should do to fix the system and what I think we need to do to help serve and support veterans while also protecting them from financial exploitation, because that's happening too. Okay, we're smart enough to know that. Anyway, more to come. I'll get off my soapbox, but just to let you all know, we're for VSOs. We recommend you use them. We just need more of them.
Right. They're overwhelmed. A lot of them, they're understaffed. Some of the resources they have, they're undertrained, some of them, but there's so many good ones out there. And like Brian said, we need to work alongside them, because some veterans that aren't computer savvy maybe need a coach, but maybe they need to go into the office and work with a VSO and submitting their claims and stuff like that if they don't have a computer at home or something like that. So at the very base minimum, we can definitely work alongside VSOs, and there are great folks out there. They really want to help the veterans.
Yep.
It's a team effort in some cases. All right, let's find another good question. Mike Putnam, he says, is it okay to submit a fully developed claim if you have a claim under appeal? I would say it depends on, what appeals lane that appeal is in. If it's a supplemental claim, you may want to hold off. It could slow down that supplemental claim. In a lot of cases, though, higher level review claims and or Board of Veteran Appeal claims do run in their own lane.
Yeah, I think the short answer, Mike, would be yes, as long as it has nothing to do with any of the conditions under appeal. Does that make sense? So, for example, if you have let's say you have a tinnitus claim and a migraines claim that got denied, and those are both under appeal. Okay. Well, maybe you want to submit a new fully developed claim for PTSD. You don't have a mental health condition. You've got a diagnosis of PTSD. You deployed in combat. You have evidence. There's a clear stressor. Yeah, I would go ahead and open your fully developed claim for PTSD and go for it. That's a separate lane. Okay. But I would not open a fully developed claim and touch anything related to conditions under your appeal.
Good stuff. Good question. Got another one you want to pick, Andy?
Let's see. Ellen has a question. How do I prove that I have not had work or have not been able to hold a job since my military sexual trauma event many, many years ago? I do have a PTSD diagnosis with the VA medical and am treated for MST. I keep being denied, and I am now working on a supplementary claim. So with TDIU, stuff like that, the VA conducts an investigation. They're going to look into see your job history. They're going to look into your, all that stuff. If you're going through the VA, they're going to want to look at your mental health, history and the, basically kind of the, what the evaluator or what your, psych doctor thinks. And if, they have to come to a conclusion that, okay, well, you are, because of your service-connected condition or multiple service-connected conditions, you are unable to make a certain amount of money per year. Off the top of my head, I think it's like $23,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cass or Brian. So they've got to conduct that investigation and come to that conclusion. And that's why, if they find that, okay, well, we see that, your disability is hindering your ability to work, but it's not to that degree, then they come to the conclusion that, okay, well, you don't qualify for TDIU. The waters are murky there. It's not really my expertise. If Cass or Brian wants to take over there, but that's kind of what they do.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit of a shot at this one, Ellen, and I'm going to try to be careful because PTSD MST claims they're extremely personal and very sensitive. The VA generally approves PTSD MST claims when there's a clear MST stressor that you at least speak to. Now, the crappy part is you're going to have to tell your story again, which nobody wants to do. Okay. As far as your TDIU goes, or not being able to hold, employment, what are they going to look for? The buzzword that the VA looks for is something called substantially gainful employment. Okay. I believe it's based on the Department of Labor's poverty tables for a family of 4. And I don't know what that number is off the top of my head per year, but it's around 17 to 23 grand, as AP talked about. And the way that they're going to check that is they do a deep dive on TDIU claims. I mean, they're going to go back and look for work history. They're going to want to see W-2 pay stubs. They're going to want to see tax returns in many cases. They're going to investigate that to make sure that, look, you truly meet the criteria of TDIU. So one thing I would tell you, and this is just something to think about, there are accredited attorneys who, some of them specialize in TDIU claims. And if you've had something denied and you're going down that path and you think you really do deserve TDIU, it's potentially worth a convo with one of those shops. And I'll just leave it at that.
Good question. And thank you for being vulnerable and asking that. A big part of our program and process is vulnerability, kind of talking about these things that you've dealt with or are dealing with, because that's the only way you get rated properly. The only thing I would add to what they had said is it could be good just to review the decision letter. For any claim that has been denied, what does the decision letter say? Usually they'll confirm a couple things if they can and let you know exactly what you're missing. So check that out as well. There could be a strategy to move forward on if there's something missing.
That's great advice. And I'm chuckling because the VA will deny the claim and then they'll send you this thing that says favorable findings in this decision. It's ridiculous. Anyway, next question.
Let's see. Dan Fiscal asks a little bit about the time frame on correcting an error, and then asking, should I be worried if the VA is correcting an error? I will say it's hard to say whether or not you should be worried, right? It's actually just a part of the process they take usually after a higher level review. But it can come up under other circumstances as well. What I find is when vets we work with file higher level reviews, they'll get a development letter somewhere amidst that process. And it could say VA is correcting an error. It could say the VA has found a duty to assist. There's a couple different things there.
Absolutely. I got one from John Sweeney. He says, I am at 10% for tinnitus. I sent a secondary for my migraines 3 weeks ago, and I went to appeal my sleep apnea that was denied. would the VA put off my migraine claims to go for the appeal for sleep apnea? Now, we kind of touched on that earlier, John, but the appeals process and the new claims process are relatively in their own lane. I would caution you though, get with your coach. If you haven't signed up yet, get with a coach and talk about that sleep apnea, because if you're not going for direct service connection via having a sleep study done while you're active duty, then you're going to probably need a really strong Nexus. It's the number one most denied claim by the VA. So get with your coach, talk about what you could possibly connect or get service connected prior to going for the appeal for sleep apnea. It's very, very important that you talk to somebody that can help you navigate that. And you're talking to 3 of them right now. So, if you haven't signed up, go ahead and get with the elite program and get with your coach.
All right. Terrence has a good question, which I think a lot of people can gain some knowledge from. He says, what to plan on CMP increase for PTSD? So how to prepare, I'm assuming. That's a big part of, what we're coaching folks on is how to be best prepared for these exams. And for mental health and for a lot of other claims, your CMP exam is a time for you to go in and advocate for yourself, for your symptoms, frequency and severity of those symptoms, and for mental health, your occupational and social impairment, right? How are your relationships affected? How are you affected in the workplace? All of those things are going to be helpful. My main tip is don't hold back. Don't leave with anything left unsaid. You deserve to really talk about everything you're dealing with.
Yeah, remember, it's occupational and social impairment is what you're being rated off of. As Cassie hit on, how is your personal life affected by what you went through? We teach on Mondays mental health. I think we teach 2 mental health classes a week at least. And, I touch on that. I get kind of personal into mine because I'm 100% rated for combat PTSD. And I could go down that deep, dark rabbit hole of how I was affected by, and it's things like you might not even think about. Went through a traumatic experience where I lost my team leader in a gruesome way in Baghdad. And that spiraled me into being a man that I did not like. The way I treated other people, the way I approach relationships. So you got to dissect how you changed from when you first went over there or joined the military into the person that you became when you came back. And then 6 months later, the person that you became then in a year, because this PTSD progresses. It really, truly does. And I'm preaching to the choir here because I know a lot of you folks are dealing with the same thing, but you got to really dissect yourself, dissect those symptoms and think how you change as a person over time. And what originally caused that. For me, it was not wanting to get close to people for a while, right? Because he was like my best friend, my big brother. And so now I just push people away. I turned to alcohol. I turned to philandering, things like that. So I became a darker person, and I was able to articulate that in very much in depth in my CMP exam. And that's, leaving it all out there on the field, right? And that's how I ended up with the rating that I have.
Man, that's powerful, man. Look, I've probably been to 15 or 20 CNP exams personally over the last 7 years, and not a single one of them made me feel comfortable. I don't like them. And I chuckle sometimes when the VA says, well, the VA disability process is not adversarial. Really? Really? Okay, because it sure feels like it's pretty doggone adversarial sending me to some private doctor who I don't know, who's not treating me, knows nothing about my case history, and this person is standing between me and the benefits I earned for wearing this uniform for me and my family. That sounds pretty freaking adversarial to me, okay? I get it. I 100% get it. Our teammates get it. AP gets it. Cassie gets it. Everybody gets it, okay? We will teach you some critical CNP exam tips and how you prepare, okay? Because it is important. And look, to all the yahoos, I've heard all the stupid comments. There's companies coaching veterans on what to say at their CNP exams. Look, they're wrong, okay? I'm not going to tell you what to say at your exam. I don't know your situation. I don't know it. What I can do and what our teammates are going to do is we're going to give you a framework on a strategy. We're going to ask you some questions to try to dissect what's really going on with you. Okay. For me, it's extreme anger. Like my mental health, man, my freaking anger can go from 0 to 100 in like a second. Okay. Well, guess what, y'all? That ain't normal. That's not normal. So you have to start thinking about, oh my gosh, this happened. I became a different person. I'm now really angry. It's affecting all aspects of my life. I don't sleep well anymore. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. I live out alone in the woods. I've been divorced 2 times. You start to get a picture of what happened to you as a result, okay, of your disabilities or your mental health. And so we're going to help you understand and unlock those things so you can tell your true story, because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. I hate telling my story. Okay. You may not think it because I've told it so many times, but I don't like telling it because it brings things back. It gets me angry again. It makes me think about things I don't want to think about again. Okay. I know, y'all, but we're here for you.
All right. Let's see if we have a question here. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just going to, close with that, saying, look, if you go in there and you close up in your mental health CMP exams, you're missing out. You've got to be uncomfortably vulnerable, as, the term Brian coined a few years ago. Being uncomfortably vulnerable that's what it's all about. I didn't want to go in there and tell this strange woman about the things that I had turned into and all that stuff. But if you don't lay it out there, you're going to get underrated. And we see way too much of that, way too much of it.
Let me bring up another one. This is important, okay? A doctor you don't know, you're taking mental health meds, you got a PTSD rating, you're going for an increase, you're sitting there talking to somebody who knows nothing about you, and you're like, oh, by the way, I'm 32 years old, married with 3 kids, and I have erectile dysfunction. Okay? It's hurting my relationship with my spouse. That sucks to have to say that. Okay? That's uncomfortably vulnerable. It's uncomfortable to say it. You're being extremely vulnerable by bringing it up. But if that's what's happening, you got to say it. If you're a female, there's such a thing called female sexual arousal disorder, mental health conditions. You either don't want to have sex, you fear it, you don't want to be close to your spouse. That's a real thing. You have to bring it up. Okay? Again, these are things that we talk about because they're important to talk about them, because they're called real life things, okay, that nobody wants to talk about. That's why we're talking about them. We bring these things up to help you understand that you're not alone. We're all dealing with these things, okay?
Well, I know we're getting ready to hit the 2-minute mark here. I want to say that we probably aren't going to be able to get to every single question asked, but come back to our next life week, sign up for a free discovery call to ask those questions. It's, again, free to sign up, free to get some of those questions answered, and see if you guys can put in a strategy for your claim's sake. And we may have a minute or two here to get to 1 or 2 more. I do see one that comes up pretty often from Marlena Morgan. She says, what happens if the VA cannot produce your records? I'm assuming she's meaning maybe active duty medical records. And a couple angles there, right? Sometimes they just need to be ordered. The VA might have overlooked something specific that is in there. But if you don't have your hands on them, they may take a little bit of time to come in. And once they do, they still may not have a whole lot in there. I would say don't let that discourage you from moving forward on a claim or seeing what you're eligible for. There is other pathways you can take. You just got to chat with someone and see what your options are.
If you have no records, okay, an option, I'm not telling you to do this, an option is to open up and file something called a standard claim, okay? The VA has a duty to assist, to go and hunt down everything they possibly can to help you. I'm not necessarily telling you to do that or advocating for it, because we advocate for fully developed claims. And the reason why is because you can control the evidence, right? Why in the world would you want to let the VA control the evidence? I want to control the evidence. We want to help you control the evidence. And that's what you get with a fully developed claim. So, Marlena, one thing you may want to try, we've got some videos out there, and maybe a teammate can follow up with you after the call. There's a couple different ways you can go about trying to get your records. I've tried all of them with varying degrees of success just to see how they work and how long they take. I found out that literally every single one of my active duty records we're available in downloadable format on TRICARE's website. Okay. I don't have the link in front of me, but TRICARE can be a repository to help you download your military service records. Now, depending on where you served and when you served, you might have to go to the National Archives with a FOIA request. That sucks. Okay. It sucks because they're understaffed, backlogged, and it takes forever. But it does work if you go to the National Archives for records. But there's some different pathways there. It's all about the strategy, gang. Oh my gosh, it's about the strategy. Like, and y'all know this. AP knows this. Cassie knows it. Our teammates know it. The tactics don't matter if you got the wrong strategy. Okay? It doesn't. I mean, think about warfare. How important is the strategy in warfare compared to the tactics of what actually unfolds on the battlefield? The strategy matters big time. Okay? And the same applies to your VA disability claim. Yes, there is such a thing as having a claim strategy. Every single veteran has their own personalized claim strategy because we're all different. We're all the same, but we're all different. Everything's a little bit nuanced in terms of what we experienced or the disabilities we actually have or the way that they're hurting us, affecting our lives, the symptoms. So join our program, get with a coach, and get a personalized claim strategy, okay, that'll be tailored to you. Okay, I'll stop there. Fellow vets, thank you. Thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for the sacrifices that you made defending freedom. From one vet to another, I truly mean that. I love you. We are here to serve and support you with whatever you need in your journey. Okay? To my teammates, I love you all. AP, Cass, thank you all. Everybody working behind the scenes to set this up, thank you. And fellow vets, thanks again for jamming with us today.
Have an awesome day. See you soon.
Love you guys. We'll see you around.